Hello, my merciful brothers and sisters. It is I, Mr. Mercy, and welcome to my obligatory E3 2017 predictions and wish list. Now, this is kind of a YouTube tradition of mine. I started doing it back in, I believe, 2014, and then I did it again in 2015, although I skipped 2016 because it was kind of a lame year for E3. But this year, I am back again to talk about what I think is going to happen at gaming's biggest show of the year. Now, unlike previous times that I've done this, however, I'm not going to try to predict the entire show or even really present my predictions as fact. These are just some things I think could happen at E3 this year, and while most of them do have solid evidence behind them, it's mostly just speculation and just my own personal wishes. I'd also like to remind everybody that I will be live streaming my reactions to E3 on this channel for all the major conferences, and I will keep you updated in the description of this video as well as on Twitter, and then maybe I'll do another video telling you guys about when those streams are so you guys can tune into those as well. And there, of course, will also be a wrap-up reactions video similar to the one I did about BlizzCon after E3, so look for that as well. But without further ado, let's jump into this, starting with EA, because EA is going to have the first conference. EA's conference is going to be June 10th at noon Pacific time with EA Play, and these are some of my ideas about what they're going to show for EA Play. So I think that this year, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is going to be this year's Battlefield 1 for them. They're gonna organize their conference in a similar way to what they did with Battlefield 1 last year, which means that they will have a big single-player focus during the actual stage show, and then maybe after everything else has been done for the show and after the show ends, they will have an hour-long multiplayer demo live stream to show off the multiplayer for the game, like they did with Battlefield 1 last year, where they invited a bunch of celebrities and YouTubers to come on down and play Battlefield 1 in a big, I believe it was like a big 64-player multiplayer match with all kinds of celebrities and YouTubers. And they'll probably do something similar to that for Battlefront 2, I should say. So that's probably what we're going to have for Battlefront 2. We know Battlefront 2 is going to have a big presence this year because it is coming out in conjunction with The Last Jedi later this year. So, you know, I think that's probably what they're going to do for Battlefront 2. I keep saying Battlefield. It makes me want to say Battlefield, but no, it's Battlefront 2. Get it right. So we know they're going to have a bunch of sports games. They always do. But I do believe that specifically when talking about Madden NFL 18, which they just released a trailer for a couple days ago and revealed that Tom Brady from my New England Patriots is going to be on the cover, which kind of makes me happy. I know New England Patriots fans are all concerned about the Madden curse. I don't believe the Madden curse is real, just like Tom doesn't. I believe that specifically for Madden NFL 18, we will get more details on what the single-player story campaign will be, because according to the trailer they just released, they're going to have a story campaign similar to what FIFA had last year. And if you guys watched one of my, E3 talking about like E3, I think it was either last year or the year before or whatever, when they did that that story campaign for FIFA, and I talked about it. I remember saying, "Oh man, I wish that was in Madden. I wish they had like a story campaign in Madden." They're doing that this year. They're doing a single-player story campaign in the vein of the journey from, I believe it was FIFA 17. So I believe we're gonna get more details on that. Perhaps Tom Brady will come out just to make an appearance on stage. I was initially thinking that maybe he would talk about the game, but I don't think that they would actually have him do that. I think that he's just going to walk out, wave to everybody, and leave. I think that's pretty much what he's going to do. He's just going to show up, say, "Hey, hi E3," and then walk backstage, and we'll never see him again. But the biggest thing for me is that I believe Madden NFL 18 will be announced to also be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Primarily because at the Switch presentation, we heard that FIFA would be coming to the Nintendo Switch. EA Sports, has decided to port their games to the Nintendo Switch. And it was, I believe it was just recently announced that the FIFA game that they're porting is FIFA 18. They're actually going to be releasing FIFA 18 onto the Switch alongside with the other games. So why not Madden NFL 18? There's been no official confirmation that that's coming to the Switch, but I do believe that it'll be announced at E3 that yes, Madden NFL 18 will also be coming to the Switch, just like FIFA is when that comes out. So I also believe that there's going to be a new Plants vs. Zombies game, probably in the Garden Warfare series, set in space, to mock the horrible reception of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare last year. So they could call it, I don't know what they would call it, but they have some kind of funny space pun name. And yeah, I believe it would be a new Garden Warfare game set in space, just to mock the atrocity that was Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I believe that that they would announce something like that. And something that I have down here in my notes that I don't see a lot of people talking about is EA Originals. I do believe that we will get at least one EA Originals announcement, whether it's a release date for Fee. If I don't know if that game's actually even out. I haven't checked up on it, but I believe we're gonna see something from EA Originals, which of course is EA's indie program. We are gonna see something from EA Originals. I don't know if it's gonna be a new game, if it's gonna be information about another game, if it's gonna be, just something else entirely. I do believe EA Originals will have some kind of presence at EA Play. And finally, my final note that I have here for the EA conference is a teaser for BioWare's new IP. I believe that's coming simply because BioWare has said that they're working on a new IP, but in my gut, I feel that BioWare is in trouble after what happened with Mass Effect Andromeda. I do believe that while EA has been keeping it kind of hush about the fallout from Mass Effect Andromeda, I do believe that it was more serious for the company than they're admitting, and I do believe that BioWare, as a studio, their future is in trouble, and who knows if this IP is ever even gonna get announced or revealed, because I do feel that BioWare is in trouble. If this does come out, if this teaser does come out, then that'll ease some of the fears that BioWare is the next company to be dissolved by EA, like Pandemic before them, and Maxis and everybody. So so we'll see what BioWare has to show at EA's conference, if anything, for E3. But that was my EA predictions. Let's move on to Bethesda, which is coming out the next day, June 11th. No specific time. At least I don't have a specific time in my notes. If you know it, then leave it in the comments, or definitely check back here later, and I'll put it in the description, whatever. But Bethesda's conference is June 11th, and let's talk about what I think they're going to have at their conference. So, especially with the enthusiasm that I saw last year from all the fans who came there in full Evil Within cosplay, and super big Evil Within fans. They showed up last year at E3, specifically expecting a big Evil Within 2 announcement, and they didn't get it. Specifically because they had the fans had such a presence there last year, and we know that it's been a while since they've had a new Evil Within game. I do believe the Evil Within 2 will get a teaser at Bethesda's conference this year, and it will have a vague 2018 release. Perhaps it could be as early as summer, it could be as late as fall. That's just my guess, but I do believe that Bethesda is not going to keep the Evil Within fans waiting much longer for a new game. So that's why I believe a teaser for a new game will be showed at E3. Next is probably going to upset a lot of people, but Skyrim for Nintendo Switch will have a release date, but it will not be the special edition. It will not be the special edition. It will not support mods, and it will mostly just be a port of the original game with perhaps slightly improved graphics that are somewhere between the original's graphics and the special edition's graphics. Somewhere in between there will be the graphical quality of the game. So yeah, I know a lot of people were hoping it was going to be the special edition, so it would have mod support, but I highly doubt it. If Bethesda can't negotiate mods with Sony, who, you know, going into the special edition, going into Fallout 4 mods, everybody expected Sony to be cool and on board with that whole thing. And even they were skittish about letting mods onto their system. You know, part of me looks at, you know, how strict Nintendo is with their, you know, keeping all of their APIs and all their hardware and everything that they own, like all their intellectual property, keeping it really close to their chests and not letting people mess around with it. Some people are speculating now that the reason why the NES Classic was discontinued is not necessarily due to a hardware shortage like Nintendo was saying, but because they were afraid of people hacking it and putting their own emulators on it. And that's why they pulled it out from stores. So given how strict Nintendo is with all of its policies and all of its, you know, quality control, I highly doubt that mods would come to Skyrim for Nintendo Switch. It's something that Nintendo can't control that well, and you know, if for some reason Bethesda tried to negotiate that with them, it seems to me like, you know, they would have even more restrictions placed on them than even Sony was giving them. So I highly doubt that the Skyrim for Switch will be the special edition. It's probably just going to be a port of the original game. And we've seen with the announcement of Payday 2 that really, really old games are coming to the Switch. So yeah, I'd say don't get your hopes up for a special edition of Skyrim with the mod support. It's probably just going to have a slightly upgraded graphical quality, and it's just going to be a port of the original game with no mods or anything. So that's unfortunate, but I do believe that that's the most logical way to approach Skyrim for Switch. So the next thing I have for Bethesda's conference is the release date for Quake Champions, which I could see coming out, you know, either late summer or early fall, maybe even as late as winter, late winter of this year. But I also believe that we're not only going to get the release date for Quake Champions, but we're also going to get the reveal of the collector's edition. What's going to be in that? And I believe, you know, it's going to be a nice collector's edition like they've done with Fallout and with Dishonored 2. You know, so it's going to be a nice collector's edition that everybody's going to really want. Next, I have something that we kind of really are anticipating this, because I believe it was during the Quake Champions reveal last year at E3. There was a little DOS boot up screen that came up, and people quickly found out that in this like DOS boot up screen, there were listings for all the Wolfenstein games, and there was a one down at the bottom that had a to be determined release date, because you had the name of the game and then the release date of the game, and at the bottom there was a blank name and a to be determined release date, and people were like, oh, that's going to be a new Wolfenstein game. I do believe that we are going to get the big new Wolfenstein game reveal at E3, and it will be coming out this fall. That'll be Bethesda's big flagship game moving into this fall during the holiday season. That's going to be their big push this year, is for the new Wolfenstein. And perhaps, like I said, perhaps Quake Champions as well, if that's coming around at the same time. And the final thing I have for Bethesda's conference is announcing that Fallout Shelter will be coming to Nintendo Switch, and it will be revealed just like they did with Fallout 4. Well, not necessarily they didn't do this for Fallout 4, but they revealed, they revealed for Fallout 4 some big surprise announcement, and I guess they did do this for Fallout Shelter when it was revealed, but it will be revealed as a same-day launch. So that means that it'll be hitting the Nintendo eShop for download for free right after the presentation. That'll be, you know, a day one launch for Fallout Shelter on Nintendo Switch. I believe that Fallout Shelter will not be coming to the PS4, simply because I believe that Bethesda has a bad taste in their mouth with how Sony has been treating them, especially, like I said, with the launch of Fallout 4 mods and the Skyrim Special Edition and their mods. I do believe that, you know, they're not going to be as eager to work with Sony on this, even though it's not like as controversial between Sony and Bethesda as mods were, because we know the reason why mods were controversial was because Sony was afraid of people hacking the consoles with mods and putting other operating systems on it, which is kind of impossible to do. But Sony was afraid of that, and that's why, you know, Sony was so protective of their API and all their file formats and stuff, and they wouldn't let Bethesda use them. So I know it's not necessarily the same problem we're dealing with here, but I believe that, you know, Bethesda is not going to be too eager to work with Sony outside of, you know, launching their, you know, flagship games on their console. Specifically Wolfenstein, because we know Quake Champions probably isn't getting a console release. So yeah, I believe that we're gonna start to see Bethesda move towards Nintendo and away from Sony. That's kind of like the big takeaway of this. And yes, while Nintendo will be stricter with them for mods and stuff, I do believe that they're gonna treat them better with console releases than Sony will. So that's my kind of big prediction for Bethesda. But let's move on to Microsoft's conference. Now, Microsoft's conference is happening also on June 11th, but we do know the time. It's happening at 2 p.m. Pacific time. My guess is that actually Bethesda's going to be later that night, probably. But there's, like I said, there's been no word on when Bethesda's conference is going to be. So I just have a few notes for Microsoft here. We know that Project Scorpio is going to have a big presence at E3 this year. It's going to be fully unveiled. But my prediction is that it's not going to take a lot of time. I think Microsoft has learned their lesson with the Xbox One, and learned not to spend, you know, like half an hour to 45 minutes showcasing features that aren't gaming, you know, related. I mean, just like they did last year with you know, announcing some of the new social features for Xbox One. They didn't take that long doing it. It was only like maybe like 5 minutes at best. So I believe that while we will get the big Project Scorpio reveal, they're gonna rush through it. They're not gonna spend a super long time dissecting the hardware and showing you everything about the hardware, and all the UI and all that kind of stuff. They're not gonna, you know, take too much time to show you the system. They're gonna focus primarily on the games, as they should. And I do believe that, of course, to showcase the power of Scorpio, they will be running most of the show's games on Scorpio during the event. So, initially, I think this happened a couple years ago. I think it happened with Unity, I do believe, Assassin's Creed Unity. They showed a demo for that game on the Xbox stage, and that kind of took me back by surprise, because Ubisoft has always had this really close bond with Sony, so it was kind of weird to see Assassin's Creed on the Xbox stage. But I do believe that it will happen again this year. I believe that our new Assassin's Creed game that we're getting, Origins, is I guess the code name for it that everybody's calling it. Assassin's Creed Origins, I do believe we're going to get to see the demo on the Xbox stage. And it will happen before Ubisoft's conference, which also is to be announced, but I do believe it's probably happening the following day. But I believe our first look at Assassin's Creed Origins is going to happen on the Xbox stage. It's going to be a single-player mission demo. They're going to go through one of the missions of the game and show that off. And we'll get to what Ubisoft is going to do with Assassin's Creed Origins in a bit. But moving on, we know we're probably going to be getting a new Forza game. I do believe that they're going to show off that new Forza game, Forza 7, and probably launch it with Scorpio in a bundle, just to showcase the power of Scorpio, and of course it's going to be optimized for Scorpio, most definitely. So yeah, I believe that just like they did with the Xbox One and even the Xbox 360 before it, I do believe that, you know, we're getting a Forza bundle to showcase the power of the new machine. It's what Forza has kind of always done for Microsoft. It's really been their tech demo game that they always say, hey, look at how pretty this game looks on our new system. So yeah, I do believe that's what we're gonna get. We're gonna get a new Forza game. It's gonna be launching with the Scorpio later this year, so people can check that out. And of course, it will have a standalone release as well. But I do believe that it will be bundled with the Scorpio when it launches, just so people can see the power of that system firsthand. So probably, even though I don't own an Xbox, although I do have a Windows 10 PC, obviously, because I've been playing all kinds of PC games. Cuphead has been one of my most anticipated games from Microsoft, and the development of that game has just been off the walls bonkers. Like, nobody knows what's going on with that game. I do believe, though, that they've had some time, that they are gonna finally give us a release date for the game. Whether they have a demo or something, that's to be seen, but a release date at best is probably what we're gonna see for Cuphead. Now, this is just my personal wish list, but this is just my personal wish, because, I mean, yes, I probably will be able to play it on Windows 10. This is just my personal wish, is that while it may not be revealed on the stage itself during the show, I do believe that interviews with developers and other news will start to come out that reveals that Cuphead, while it is exclusive to Xbox and Windows 10, it will only be a timed exclusive, and it will only come out on Xbox and Windows 10 and be timed exclusive for a year, and it will later be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Well, that's a pie-in-the-sky dream, to see Cuphead on the Nintendo Switch. I believe it would be a good system to have Cuphead on, because just the way that game looks and the way that game plays, I think it would be a perfect fit for Switch. But yeah, that's just one of my personal wishes for this E3. More than likely, it's gonna stay as Xbox and Windows 10 only, but I mean, hey, we'll see what happens. Another game I'm really excited about, We Happy Few. I do believe that we are gonna perhaps get a new trailer for We Happy Few, and that game will be announced to be launching early next year, either quarter 1 or quarter 2 of next year. And finally, we're gonna close it out with either a Destiny 2 trailer or maybe a gameplay demo, because the way I look at it is, you know, Sony now has Call of Duty, because they've fought for years to get Call of Duty. It used to be where Xbox and Microsoft had the deal with Call of Duty to have all their map packs and everything first, and they had the marketing rights and everything. And for a brief moment, Sony was able to pick up Battlefield as their flagship shooter franchise. For like, I believe it was just for Battlefield Hardline, just that one time. But then later, it was announced that Sony had acquired Call of Duty and the exclusive marketing rights for that. And, you know, the exclusivity deal to get map packs early and stuff. And then Microsoft had to kind of take back Battlefield a little bit, and now so it's reversed now. So now Microsoft is dealing with Battlefield and Sony is dealing with Call of Duty. But since Battlefield 1 just came out, we're definitely not getting a new Battlefield game this year. That's pretty much a given. I'm figuring, what can Microsoft push to compete with Call of Duty on Sony's PS4? And it dawned on me, Destiny 2. How big would that be? How big of an announcement would that be if Microsoft came out and announced that Bungie is back with them, is back working for Microsoft, and that Destiny 2 will have, timed exclusivity, at least with like some of the DLC maybe, with them, and Destiny and Battlefield will be kind of like Microsoft's big flagship shooters. So I believe we're going to see Destiny 2 primarily at Microsoft's stage for the Xbox conference, but we'll see what happens. Destiny 2 is most definitely going to show up. I just don't think that since Sony now has Call of Duty that they really need Destiny anymore. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this, but I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Destiny 2 teaser that we got was Xbox branded. It was released primarily through Xbox and stuff like that. So I do believe that we're going to see Destiny 2 probably closing out the show for Microsoft at their conference. But moving on to Ubisoft. I don't have a lot for Ubisoft, primarily because, we know we're probably going to get Just Dance 2018. They pretty much always do that. But I'm thinking, what can Ubisoft really show besides, South Park and Assassin's Creed? We don't know what else they're doing. But this is what I have for my notes. Is I have South Park, The Fractured But Whole. We'll get the final release date for October 2017. And as far as Assassin's Creed goes, I think that we will just get a trailer, probably a CGI trailer, instead of something like a co-op demo or something. I think that Ubisoft is just going to show a nice little CGI trailer. But I know some people are speculating that this new Assassin's Creed could come to the Switch. I don't think it will. As big of as a Switch fan I am right now, because I just got my Switch and been playing the hell out of it, as big of a fan as I am of the Switch, I just don't think it's powerful enough to run Assassin's Creed Origins. So it's probably just going to be coming out for the major consoles, excluding the Switch, and that's going to be it. However, I do believe that to announce some more future support for the Switch, we are going to get 2 announcements. And I do believe that these 2 announcements will be, the first being that Splinter Cell, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, is getting remastered to celebrate Splinter Cell's 15th anniversary, because the game came out in 2002, so this year will be its 15th anniversary, and that game will release for all major platforms, including Nintendo Switch, on November 12th, 2017, the same day it came out 15 years ago. So the final thing I have for Ubisoft is announcing that Trials Fusion Definitive Edition will see a Switch release later this coming summer and include all the previous DLC for that game. And because I can't really think of anything else that Ubisoft could do. They might have an IP, but there's not a lot that I can think of that Ubisoft can bring to the table this year. There's all of their big major flagship games have kind of, been recently taken care of. So what are they gonna do for E3? I have no idea. But those are just some of my ideas. So moving on to Sony. Sony, I believe, is gonna have a really, really great presser this year. It's either gonna be between Sony or Nintendo as to who takes the cake this year with E3. But starting out for Sony's conference, I have a gameplay demo for The Last of Us 2. I believe that they can kick off the show with that. It's going to kick off the show in a big way. and it's going to get everybody all excited. We're probably going to get to see gameplay playing as Ellie, because I do believe that you know, that's going to be a primary character throughout the game. I believe that Joel is going to be reduced to a sidekick character for the most part. I do believe that Ellie will be the main protagonist of the game. So, seeing a gameplay demo for The Last of Us 2, just kicking off a big, nice, like you know, 10-minute gameplay demo for The Last of Us 2 to kick off the show. That's just my prediction. But moving on, what has Sucker Punch done as of late? I think their last game was like, you know, probably back like Infamous Second Son. I think was like their last game, and you know, the DLC that went with that, the standalone DLC. What have they been up to? You know, I think that it just dawned on me as I was recording this that they don't really have the rights to this anymore, but I guess they could get it back quite easily. I think there's going to be a new Sly Cooper game coming out. If not from Sucker Punch, then at least from Cinzaro Studios, which is the studios that now owns the rights to Sly Cooper. And the reason why I think there's going to be a new Sly Cooper game announced, even if Sucker Punch doesn't make it themselves, they could you know, offer some creative collaboration or some kind. You know, they could help influence the game in some way. And the reason why I think we're getting a new Sly Cooper game is I think that we're also going to be getting a trailer for the Sly Cooper movie. Sly Cooper does have a movie still in production, as far as I can tell. I've did a little research on myself. It's not entirely dead. The Sly Cooper movie is not entirely dead in the water. So I think that both of them, both the game and the movie, will be releasing in Q4 of next year in 2018. I don't think this is coming out this year. I think it's too early. And the new Sly Cooper game could be kind of like, not necessarily a movie tie-in, but kind of do what Battlefront did for The Force Awakens when that came out. Because Battlefront came out like 2 weeks before the movie, and it was, you could tell it was kind of inspired by the movie a little bit. So they could like totally redesign the characters to look like somewhat like their movie counterparts. And while it's not necessarily going to be Sly Cooper the movie, the game, it could just be a new Sly Cooper game that's kind of modeled around the movie and structured in a way that complements the movie. So yeah, I think that's going to be announced. It's going to be coming out in 2018. So I believe we're going to get some more details, perhaps maybe a trailer about Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, and I believe that will be launching early fall of 2017. So that's quick. Moving on, we have another prediction. I believe that while development of this has been slowly moving along, very, very slowly, perhaps even slower than most studios, considering that it's kickstarted, I do believe that we'll at least get a trailer, even if it's just a CG trailer with, you know, no real gameplay or anything, just a fancy CG trailer made up. I do believe we're gonna get a trailer for Shenmue 3. It's been a couple years since we've heard about it. I think that they need to remind people that, hey, this was funded, this is coming out, stay tuned. Just to remind people that, hey, this is a thing, so people don't forget about it. And as I mentioned, since Sony has, you know, these marketing deals with Call of Duty now, I believe we're going to get the multiplayer reveal trailer for Call of Duty World War II at Sony's conference. And, you know, they're going to remind people, hey, go pre-order to get access to the beta, all that good stuff. Now, these are probably like the three big things that everybody wants. I'm not too keen on a couple of them, but and people seem to be skeptical as to these happening, but at least two of these anyway. But I have faith. I have faith that we're gonna hear something. So the first thing that I have is a gameplay demo of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, playable on the show floor, and I believe that we will get a release window for Episode 1 for spring 2018. So, and they'll probably keep us going throughout 2018 with, you know, more episodes coming out, perhaps like one maybe every quarter or something. So yeah, I do believe quarter 1, spring 2018, we get episode 1 of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and we'll see the first gameplay demo, or not, maybe not necessarily the first gameplay demo, but a gameplay demo for Final Fantasy VII Remake at E3. And the big one, this is the big one that everybody's talking about, Kingdom Hearts 3. Everybody's saying, no, there will be no Kingdom Hearts 3 this year. It's too far-fetched of a prediction. I'm buying into it. I'm buying that we will get Kingdom Hearts 3 news, even if it's just a trailer. And we'll also get the release date for quarter 4, 2018. It'll be late next year. And perhaps to close out the show, I'm thinking a Red Dead Redemption 2 gameplay demo, because we know that they're working on that. They you know, Rockstar showcased that earlier, so we know they're working on it. And I believe we're gonna get some more details on that at Sony's conference. And closing out my predictions, let's talk Nintendo. Oh my god, I am more excited for Nintendo's conference than any other of these conferences. And it's weird because, like, every year for E3, I've always been the Sony fanboy who comes on and is so super stoked to see Sony come out and knock it out of the park like they always do. But like I said, I just got a Nintendo Switch. I've been playing the hell out of it. I love it to death. And in terms of, while it may not be doing as well as the PS4 in sales, at least in terms of public opinion, I think that the Switch has just stolen the top spot for this generation's gaming system from Sony. I do believe that the Switch is the system to beat this year and for many more years to come. Once this thing gets a big enough install base and you know, more third-party comes on and sees how much this is selling out and how many people are buying these systems, I believe that once we get that third-party support on board, then this thing is just going to be the king. Nintendo will be the king of gaming once again. So let's talk what they're doing for their Nintendo Spotlight, as it were, on June 13th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So obviously we know from their little teaser image that Super Mario Odyssey will be their primary focus for this event. Now, I don't think that it's going to be like the Treehouse last year, where it's like an hour of, you know, like the Treehouse was last year, was like an hour of Zelda, and then maybe like 5-10 minutes of Pokemon and Mario Party and little other games like that. I don't think it's going to be, hey, there's Super Mario Odyssey and there's some other games coming out. No. While Super Mario Odyssey will be their primary focus and have the most time devoted to it, it's not going to be the only focus, and it's not going to, you know, overshadow everything else. Because I think that how they're going to do it is they're going to do it similar to what they did for ARMS and Splatoon 2 back in the Nintendo Direct that they had last month in April, where you have big segments devoted to these big flagship games, specifically in this case Super Mario Odyssey, and then have in between those have a bunch of little like highlights, as it were, where it's like a rapid fire kind of information about new games coming out, and I think that's probably how they're going to do it. And I believe that to get the jump on some of these other holiday games coming out, which are going to be big holiday releases for these other companies, I do believe that Super Mario Odyssey will be launching in October. Well, yes, they did say it was coming holiday 2017. I think that Nintendo is going to try to beat the rush a little bit, at least by a month, just to let people know how amazing it is, so that way it can be the Christmas item for that holiday season, instead of, you know, releasing it during the holidays and then potentially encountering a shortage problem where so many people want it that it's difficult for people to get, and causing a big mishap with that. So I believe they're going to try to get a little bit of a jump on it, at least a month, or even just a couple of weeks, even if that. Maybe it could be launching at the very end of October. You know, who knows? But I think it's coming in October regardless. Next thing I have is a announcement for a bundle for the Nintendo Switch that includes 1-2 Switch, which is something they should have done all along. I mean, 1-2 Switch is a fantastic tech demo of what the Switch is capable of, especially the Joy-Con controllers. But charging $50 for a tech demo, what essentially is a tech demo, I'm not too keen on that. It should have been bundled with the Switch to begin with. And I believe that if they do that, and especially if they release it for the holiday season as a special, you know, holiday bundle for Nintendo Switch, that'll send the Nintendo Switch, you know, flying off the shelves. Everybody's gonna want one. It'll make the Switch the hot Christmas item that year, probably along with Super Mario Odyssey. People will get the Switch bundle with 1-2 Switch, and they're gonna want Super Mario Odyssey to go along with that, and Nintendo's just gonna be making a bunch of money. So I believe that in November we will get a bundle for Nintendo Switch that includes 1-2 Switch, and perhaps it could also, if they're feeling lucky, it could also maybe include an SD card or perhaps an amiibo or something. You know, who knows? But I believe a 1-2 Switch bundle will be a smart move for Nintendo going into the holiday season. So everybody's been talking about Pokemon coming to the Switch. I tend to agree. I tend to think that Pokemon Stars is not just some rumor, that they are working on Pokemon Stars, especially how the names for Sun and Moon were leaked, and nobody believed them until they actually were announced. So since we have this leaked name of Pokemon Stars, I do believe that it will be basically an upgraded port of Sun and Moon coming to the Switch, and just to distinguish it a little bit from the 3DS version, I believe we're going to get 25 new creatures added into the game, 25 new Pokemon, whether they be, you know, evolutionary stages. I think a lot of them probably be evolutionary stages, probably going to get very few original, just stage 1 Pokemon. And I believe we're also going to be getting a new game feature, and not necessarily, you know, an online PvE, or not PvE, but PvP, style system, because the way I'm thinking about that is that would be kind of hard to coordinate with the 3DS, because I have on here one of my things is crossplay with the 3DS, but we'll get to that. But perhaps some other in-game feature that they can find a way to do with the Switch's hardware, and it will be like an HD, you know, high graphical fidelity Pokemon Sun and Moon experience. And that will be coming to the Switch probably in September, I'm thinking. September will be a good time to launch that. And like I also have here, it will end up supporting Pokemon Bank and have cross-play with the 3DS versions of Sun and Moon. But like I said, like, I don't think that they can do some kind of like PvP game mode in the Switch version, because then how would that work with the 3DS version? So it would have to be just some other nifty in-game feature that isn't present in the 3DS version in the Pokemon Stars for Nintendo Switch. And I believe that the Pokemon Bank support and crossplay with 3DS that will launch in Q1 of 2018. And a couple of big ones that everybody's really hoping for this year is Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo Switch being officially revealed, and it will release, in my opinion, it will release this coming fall. Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is, you know, yes, you know, they have Smash Bros. Now on both the Wii U and the 3DS. Why would they need another version? Especially because a lot of the people that I know that didn't buy the Wii U version just went out and bought the 3DS version anyway. So why would they release it again? Well, my understanding and the way I look at it is they're releasing, like, I believe, 4 new amiibo coming out this summer. They're expecting people to go out and buy those amiibo for a game that's now like 2 years old. Are people still playing Smash that much? I don't think so. I don't play Smash that much anymore. I don't know anybody that plays Smash that much anymore. So releasing Smash Bros. For the Switch and then suddenly making all of those amiibo relevant again, especially the new ones they have coming out, it seems to me like a no-brainer to release Smash Bros. On the Switch. It could be a port of the Wii U version so people could have that big 8-player battle, especially because the Switch does support up to 8-player local co-op play, or not co-op, but local LAN play. It would work. It would work on the Switch, and I believe that like I said, will be coming out this fall because it keeps their amiibo that they've released for Smash relevant, and keeps people wanting them if they re-release the game for the Switch. And the big one, this is the big one that everybody's talking about, and people are split on the issue about whether this is coming at E3 or not. It's a very divisive topic. I happen to be in the camp that yes, it will be revealed, and that's Retro Studios' new Metroid. I believe, yes, we are getting the new Metroid from Retro Studios, and it will be launching early next year, Q1 2018. I know there's been rumors going around that a second Metroid game is in development. Personally, I think that if those rumors are true, one, it's probably coming for the 3DS and not the Switch, and two, it will be too soon and too much Metroid overload to release both of those games, at the same time. So yeah, only one Metroid game, I think, for now. I think the second Metroid game, if those rumors are true, that's way down the road from now. But yeah, the first Metroid game, I believe, yes, we are getting a new Metroid game from Retro Studios. Could be Metroid Prime, launching in Q1 2018. Now, I believe we're also probably going to be getting just a simple reminder about ARMS and Splatoon 2. We already know the release dates. We already know everything about them. They're just going to get a passing mention, say, hey, ARMS is coming out in like a few days. Splatoon 2 is coming out next month. You should get it. And that'll be it. That'll be it. Just reminding people that ARMS and Splatoon 2 exist. Although, that could be a potentially false prediction because we do know from their teaser image that they are going to be having tournaments on the show floor for ARMS and Splatoon 2. So maybe that could just be the reminder that ARMS and Splatoon 2 are coming out. It's just by their tournaments. But who knows? They may mention it in their event. They may not. But the next two are kind of like my personal wishes. The first, Bayonetta collection, featuring Bayonetta 1 and 2. Just like how the Wii U had Bayonetta 2 and also came packaged with Bayonetta 1. I believe you put the two together. Bayonetta collection, launching this August on Nintendo Switch. Because I know that, like, when you're talking about some of the best games that the Wii U had to offer, it comes down to usually like Smash Bros, Pokken, Super Mario Maker, Splatoon, and some others, and Bayonetta. Bayonetta 2 is one of those games that people really wanted a Wii U for, but people still didn't go out and buy a Wii U. I know I wanted a Wii U to play Bayonetta 2, but I never got one. So re-releasing Bayonetta 2 along with Bayonetta 1 on the Nintendo Switch would be huge. I think that would be, because right now the Switch is kind of lacking in mature games. There's mostly just been, family games on the Switch right now. The Switch needs a mature rated game to appeal to the older audience, and I know a lot of people that really wanted Bayonetta 2 but didn't go out and buy it. Why not re-release it as a port on the Switch? I think that would just be perfect. And also, since they got the Bayonetta amiibos coming out this summer, it could be compatible with the Bayonetta amiibos. Think about it, like you could use the Bayonetta amiibos in the Bayonetta collection to do some like crazy and wonky stuff. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to me. I'm like, just to you know, support those amiibos beyond Smash. If people decide, hey, I've already got Smash for 3DS, and maybe I also got it for Wii U, I don't need another Smash Bros in my life, but you still want the Bayonetta amiibos, well, here's something to use them with. Bayonetta collection. There you go. I know that I'm going to try to be picking up the Bayonetta amiibo when I can, because I definitely want that one, because currently I only have a Princess Peach amiibo, and it kind of sucks. But anyways, and the final thing that I would like to see at Nintendo, and the final thing I'd like to see at E3, is a new Animal Crossing game. Because I've been kind of admiring Animal Crossing from a distance. Like, it's I really like the characters, and I really like the idea. It's just, it's been hard for me to get into, but I would like to get into Animal Crossing with the Switch, and it's very, very likely that an Animal Crossing game for the Switch is in development. Considering how poorly Amiibo Festival did on the Wii U, and how it was one of the Wii U's worst rated games, I believe that they need an Animal Crossing game for the Switch, and I believe it should come out this November. It should come out this fall, so people get their hands on it, and it shows the public that, you know, the Switch is going to be supporting all of their big IPs, because you got Pokemon, you got Mario, you got Animal Crossing, you got Metroid. I mean, what else can you want, honestly? So, and you got Smash Brothers, and you got Bayonetta, so it's like too much goodness. But anyways, that was my list of predictions for E3 this year. Like I said, I will be covering E3 with live streams, so more information on that will happen in the coming weeks when I find out more information and when I can get everything all set up for it. So remember, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I'm Mr. Mercy. Peace, everyone.